Madison Podcast, Ben Lavender, New York's favorite British mortgage broker, talking about everything real estate. It's fun, it's free, and it's good for you. Okay, today we have a very well-dressed special guest, which I will continuously reference to how she is not overdressed, but how it has reminded me how I am underdressed. And you look just really awesome, Katia. So Katia Belony, am I pronouncing your last name right?
Belony.
Belony. I'm glad I asked. So let's do that again. Welcome, Katia Belony.
Oh, thank you.
Very cool name. Thank you for coming. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Katia has a lot of wisdom and experience, actually. So let's dive right into the juicy part. We can bang this out or we can go on forever, Katia. But again, you've been in this game for a while,
Yes.
which in itself is an accomplishment, right? Most people quit after, a year, 2 years. I think they say if you're in it after 5 years, the chances of you increasing or staying for long term is much, much higher. So let's chat about that. How did you get into the business, and how have you stayed in the business this long and done so well?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Well, I got started in real estate, actually, my freshman year in college. I graduated from high school. I went to Clara Barton High School in Brooklyn. And while in high school, I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Ah, yeah, it's a great one. Classic.
Yes. And I didn't quite understand it because I was in high school. So fast forward, went to college. I went to the College of Staten Island. So my freshman year in college, they didn't have dorms at the time. That was back in 2006. And so I lived with a roommate, and when I turned 18, because I graduated before I turned 18, so when I turned 18, I went to a real estate office to look for an apartment. So I met with Suzanne. She took me to see 2 apartments. One was a 2-bedroom, the other one was a studio. And at the time, I was only making about like $700 every 2 weeks. And so I settled for the studio because it was about $650. So fast forward, I asked Suzanne, I said, Suzanne, what do you do for a living? And she said, I'm a real estate salesperson. So I was in school the next day.
Nice.
The college in the morning, real estate school in the evening. Took the real estate exam, passed it, and there you go. I've been in the game ever since.
So I would like to hear about, just because I'm always just curious, when you first started, can you talk about how, I want to compare something, how you generated business starting out, because that's something where everyone gets lost on.
Right.
And how has that changed for you over time? Like, how's it different compared to now?
So the interesting thing is, I was petrified. Mind you, I'm 18 years old. I'm like, holy cow, like, who's going to trust me to sell their home? So I did everything, learning the script, and but I got my break when I partnered up with someone in the office. So I partnered with Gene, and Gene was much older than I was. So they thought he was much more experienced, but him and I had just gotten out of real estate school.
Oh, that's funny.
So I became the tech person, and Gene became the wisdom behind the team. And that allowed me to go ahead and sell my first property. And upon selling my first property, the rest was history. I was doing open houses. I was working with buyers, working with sellers, and I became very comfortable. And
how long did that take to build that comfort?
Well, it took me about, I would say within my first year, I was able to sell properties.
Right.
And I built on, and from that point on, it was just referrals and a lot of...
It's something people, I think, always wonder about, because like you use the word petrified,
Yes.
right? Which I think is a very accurate and real word, and it's how a lot of us feel. So the time for you to go from petrified to like, okay, I got this, was like about a year.
It was about a year, yeah. I was determined. So mind you, I was excited about the whole business, and I was a go-getter. I knew that for a fact, and I read multiple books, and I hired a coach.
Smart.
That I think that changed everything for me
That
by
early
having
on, like within the first year?
within the first year.
Very smart.
Yeah, I had a real estate coach the first year. The first year I got started, and I remember because I had that coach, one weekend I was able to list 8 properties that one weekend.
I mean, you have permission to brag, Katia, so go ahead.
No. It wasn't about bragging. It was, having access to...
That is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
That is not normal. That is awesome. And it's definitely not luck. that is not luck. I think the phrase is, what the harder you work, the luckier you get. I mean, the combination of just being driven, determined, having a mentor, having a teammate, and having opportunity. When you add all these things together, your luck increases. So, because I'm hitting on this because to the average person it sounds so awesome, it's like, that's not realistic. It's realistic if you make that your reality, but how much work went into everything else you did, and waking up early, you're going to school, you're getting these other opportunities. You had to essentially combine all these things to have that lucky moment or break, right?
Right. It required a lot, and I was fortunate, like I said, having access to a coach. That was the best investment I've ever made. Because she was there, she knew the business. It was just holding my hands, guiding us through the process. And we ran with it. We didn't have to reinvent the wheel.
And how has the business changed throughout the years, the ups and the downs? How have you adapted to it? Now I'm asking selfishly because I want to know.
So obviously that was before the recession.
Oh yeah.
So we had a recession
right
after.
Katia caused the housing crisis.
Oh my gosh, we had a recession. So when the recession happened, I thought, holy cow, what is going on here? Is this over? Is this it? Is this what I got myself into? But I'll tell you one thing. So, of course, when I got started and I was in college, like I mentioned before, so there were times that I was like, okay, I don't think I'm going to finish college. I'm probably going to drop out. So the recession kind of changed my mind and made me stay in college. And I graduated from college and I went ahead and earned my master's. And I remember vividly, as I'm doing my master's program, everyone around me needed to have a place. And I was the perfect person. I happened to be at the right place at the right time to help them.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So part of that, listening to it, obviously it sounds very easy, but these were your friends. Did you penetrate a community? Were you in different clubs? How did you create that network?
Right. I've always been very involved. I'm a business person, so I can't shy away from not being involved. So I'm also a socialite. So in school, I made sure everyone knew what I was doing. There's not a person that did not know that I sold houses. I had my license and I was involved. And so
how did you go about spreading it?
I would advertise on campus.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I would advertise whatever apartments I had and whatever houses I had. I would advertise it and let people know. And then fast forward, I started doing home buyer seminars to educate people further about the housing market. So I would be like the expert in the industry, just giving them information that was worthwhile.
That's freaking awesome. Yeah, it sounds so simple, like you say it simply, but how what was the work involved in doing that? I imagine it was, it was tedious, it was repetitive, but you just did it because that's the job, right?
Right. And the other thing, helping someone become a homeowner, that joy at the end.
That's awesome.
Elevating them and giving them the opportunity to utilize real estate as a vehicle to create wealth. Yeah. It was just for me, that was my homework. I'm going to make it happen. So I would ask them questions. What exactly would you like to be doing in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself? What are your financial plans? And how can I help you accomplish that was the next step.
Easy. It's not hard. It's just about, we always say, it's like asking questions, right? The more we know about the client, the better we can serve and help them.
Certainly.
Okay. So have your strategies changed now that we're in 2025? It's kind of crazy to say 2025. Have they changed, or are you just kind of doing more of that on a larger scale?
On a larger scale, obviously. So we went from a 2-person team to now 24 plus agents, right. And we're growing, we're expanding. We would like to obviously continue to have more people part of our team. And now it's not just, Katia and Jean, but it's Katia, Jean, plus. Right. Replicating the same model throughout.
So talk to us about the team. How do you feel like you run things? What makes you different or special? I know a few of them, but I want to hear it from you.
No men's an island, and I don't believe that you can survive in real estate without having access to people. And I feel the same way about a team. I can rely on others. They can rely on me. I'm able to duplicate myself numerous times, and I don't have to stress myself too thin. One person is a buyer's agent, another person is a listing agent, another person just strictly does open houses. So everyone has roles and responsibilities.
Gotcha. And it works well. People are happy, and you're growing, right? So
we are.
Obviously, it works. How many events are you doing? Because we've spoken about them as well. Like, is it multiple times a week, once a month? Are you throwing events? Are you sponsoring? Are you attending? Like, how does that all work?
At least 2 events per week.
Damn.
Minimum.
Nice.
Yeah. We have at least one homebuyer webinar or seminar in person every week, and then I attend other events in addition to those.
That's a lot. So to most people who, for you, Katia, it's probably easier, right? Because you said it yourself, you're like a socialite, very bubbly, warm person. You're easy to talk to, honestly. And
thank you.
So for you, doing 2 events a week is like breathing, right? But is that how it always felt, or did it take time?
Not necessarily, though. So it's interesting because I would go in and I'm like, okay, this is where we're going to be this week. So everyone is looking at their calendar. And then when the time comes, I'm like, holy cow, like, why? Why? Like, is it tomorrow? Like, really? So over time, it took time because I had to, master my craft, work well with others, and be able to not only understand who I was and associate my goals with the other people's goals as well, because what is the purpose of me doing these events? What is the purpose of me attending these events? What am I getting out of it, and what are they getting out of it, right? So I don't want to go to an event if I don't feel myself. I don't want to go to an event if I'm not bringing something,
If you're not on, like, you won't go, basically, type of thing. But I imagine that doesn't happen often.
It doesn't happen often, no, because if I put it on my calendar, I'm committed.
Yeah. Which is the way that it should be. So the reason that I bring that up, right, is because the way that I see growth in business in general, right, is that in order to get to the next level, this is a big Alex Hormozy saying, like the magic is in the work that you're not doing, right? So for, let's say, a newer agent, they need to add on doing, a monthly, or let's go weekly, a weekly home buyer seminar. And in the beginning, it feels really daunting and tough because you have to organize it. You're not familiar with the tech. You're not sure how to get all the people in the door. But after you do it X amount of times, it doesn't become this big like event in your mind, right? It's like, it's just, again, it's like breathing. You obviously have to continue refining and improving it, but after a while, it's just another tool in your arsenal to generate business, which sounds cheap. The better way to say that is, it becomes an easy tool to just connect with the people that you're looking to help. Right.
And that's why we collaborate with people like yourself, right? We don't have to know it all. We don't have to do it all. It doesn't have to be a one-man show. It's a collaborative effort.
Yeah, that's just the business I feel, right? I know a lot of people, at least on my side of the business, that want to do everything themselves, and they do it because they like control, but they literally, they're the most stressed people I've ever met in my life. They're just a constant ball of anxiety and stress, and it's not a way to be, but that is something to let go of. Let's talk about mentorship in your office. How do you guys handle literally just handle mentorship? Do you do coaching yourself? Do you outsource it? How does all that work?
So we do coaching, and we also have a coach. As from day one, it was a coach that allowed me to obviously get my first deal, and went ahead and be in the business until now, 18 years later, right? So we're part of a coaching club.
It's called Coaching Club, or it's just a coaching club?
A coaching club.
Got it. Okay, we'll keep the name. If you want the name, you gotta Katia. Okay, so what type of things does that focus on?
Everything.
Yeah.
It analyzes where the goals and where an agent is, and kind of give them the steps needed for them to get to their next level.
Does it do anything to keep them accountable? Because I always find that's the key.
Yeah, the coach definitely keeps them accountable. So one thing, I'm a broker. So the broker, although as much as we want to keep our agents accountable, but they're independent contractors. But the coach can tell them, listen, you said you were going to do X, Y, Z, W. Why didn't you do it?
Right.
I can't go, you said you were going to do XYZW, because then that's like, oh, no, you're not my boss kind of thing. I'm an independent contractor. I do whatever it is that I want to do.
Yeah.
But the coach keeps them accountable for sure.
Yeah, you need that, because it's just, when it comes to growing in the business, right, like I was saying before, you have to try something that's new or uncomfortable. You need like a little,
Oh, yeah.
like, let's go, let's
and
try
real estate
it.
is massive.
Yeah.
You bounce from one side to another, and you can spend an entire quarter and you did zero.
Right. But you think that you did because you were working on some BS busy work that you thought was like, or you didn't think of anything of it. You were like, oh, I'm busy with paperwork, or I'm reorganizing this. Like, that doesn't generate business.
No.
It's good to have, it's important, but acting, it's a common theme I always touch on, because I see it in other people very easily, and I've experienced it myself, like to myself, where I've just wasted time on something that, and I was using it as a way to avoid doing the real hard work that I knew was challenging and tough, and I'm sure I still do it to this day to one degree or another, but always try and at least like self-coach, right? Like, what could you do better? How can you improve? And look, not everyone's like that too. Some people are just good closing their X amount of deals a year, and that's fine as well. But that's not me. That's not you.
You got to put in the work.
Yeah, you got to put it in. And look, it's fun too. It is genuinely a fun business. There's always a new challenge and something every day. It's why I love this, right? When people are like, Ben, you do mortgages. Like, it was like, it's not just mortgages. I don't have this amazing like affinity for interest rates, right? I have to know what's going on with the market because it's my freaking job, right? But it's the love of the labor comes from doing stuff like this and the challenges and all that stuff. It's just a wonderful business. Not easy.
I thought back in the days that you guys only looked at paperwork.
Right.
And then fast forward, I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have gotten my NMNL number. And
these days, they don't even look at the paperwork. They just pre-approve you and be like, oh, good luck. Not us.
No,
us.
they can't do that.
Oh, you'd be surprised about how many files that we come across, Katia, where it's like, they said it was pre-approved and it was good, and then a month later, the deal doesn't hit, So, okay, let's talk about your you mentioned that there's a lot of like clubs and programs that you do. Can you talk to us a little bit about that and how it intertwines with your business, even if it does at all?
It does, because it's important for you to know your community. It's important for you to know the people that you're servicing. Real estate is in everything. Right. So I spend the time to network, because I believe that in networking, not only my network is my net worth, but in addition to that, how am I going to help people if I don't know who they are? Okay,
so are there any particular communities that how do you actually go about penetrating the communities and becoming part of them? And again, don't have to give away the secret sauce, but just how, because look, when a newer person in the industry hears that, it sounds extremely daunting. Okay, for you, again, it's like breathing. So how would someone penetrate that? What is the mindset behind connecting with these people, and what's the best approach? Because a newer person's like, what do I do? What do I say? It's just like they've got no clue.
I mean, you have to start first with your sphere of influence, and then from there and tap into their sphere. And build up on that. You don't have to go, oh my gosh, I had to go to, where's the community? Where do I go? How do I start? Right. No, ask the person next to you, the person you talk to on the phone, ask 5 people. And then from there, tap into their sphere and grow from there.
So let me give an example, right? And tell me if I'm right, wrong, or how would it be done differently. So let's say hypothetically, Ben Lavender, new in the business, looking to work a sphere, okay? I have a friend, one of my best friends is a nurse, right? So, I talk to my friend, chit-chat, whatever, and tell them what I'm looking to do. And I tell my nurse friend, hey, can I throw an event for people that you work with in your hospital or wherever it is that they work, and give them a special, you could do a first-time homebuyer seminar and say that we'll give you a $500 credit to whatever. Is that the type of approach that you'd recommend?
Yes, indeed.
Anything to add or make it better?
And your preferred vendors. Tap into your preferred vendors. Like I said, you don't have to do it by yourself. So first-year agent may not be as comfortable, right, to say, oh my gosh, am I an expert in real estate yet? Am I going to be comfortable to host an open house? Am I going to be comfortable to host a home buyer seminar? But then what happens is when you tap into your lender, when you tap into your broker, when you tap into your team, you'll be able to deliver.
A thing that is becoming more of a like a common practice, actually I shouldn't say common, but just more frequent, is like client appreciation parties.
Yes.
Right, so I've had quite a few agents reach out to me and they're like, okay, how do we do it? And I was like, I tell them, you need to, so you've got me, you need your attorney, you need your home inspector, you need your title rep and whoever else, and we'll all pitch in and help you throw this party.
And those are great.
Yeah, they're fun. I've done, I think, actually I haven't done that many. I've done like 2 in the past 6 months, and I got another one coming up in June. And it's a great way to stay in front of your clients and
tap into their sphere.
Yeah, that's true. Bring your friends.
For that referral, bring their friends. We understand. Because especially for us in our industry, it's like you've closed on a property, and then what's next?
Right.
That was it? Is it only that one transaction? No, there's multiple transactions from that one person, because at the end of the day, like I mentioned before, utilizing real estate as a vehicle to create wealth, helping that person not just become a homeowner for one, but multiple properties, creating a portfolio of real estate.
Let's dive deeper on that, Katia. What are some of your favorite ways to keep in touch with clients after you've closed the transaction with them?
So many things. I'm involved in their day-to-day life. So I remember things. I jot down. Yeah, I understand. I jot down things. I remember their kids' birthdays. I remember their anniversaries. So I would find out what they're interested in. If they want to go to school, if their parents need to come to the country, or whatever it is that they're facing. So I'm trying to be that person, that go-to person for them, a point of reference, so I can point them to if they need insurance, if they need another lender for something else, if they need whatever it is that they need. I'm that point of reference.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said insurance, because quick tidbit, insurance has become far more complicated over the past couple of years, especially this year, because they're so limited as to what they can lend to. Well, not lend to, what they can insure. So I used to only have like a couple of insurance people, because it's like you didn't need a ton, but now you need a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because that's like, it's not even about the price. They'll get back to you and be like, we cannot insure in this in this area. We've filled our quota, right? So the pricing is astronomical as well on insurance, but it's a good thing to have in your back pocket. I'm telling a lot of agents as well, like, have a preferred insurance person that you can recommend, because clients also look to you guys as what I commonly refer to as the mommy or the daddy of the transaction, right? They'll look to you for direction on everything, not just, during the transaction stuff, but like they need handymen, they need accountants, tax preparers, whatever the case may be. So do you find yourself, Katia, being a bit of a connector? A lot of your clients reach out to you and say, like, I need this, and that's...
Right. So I'll give you an example. For instance, if a client purchased a 2-family home, all of a sudden they become a landlord.
Right.
Do they know how to manage a property? Do they know what it's like to review documents?
Right.
So am I just going to say, oh, congratulations, here's your keys, good luck?
Peace.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I go into the nitty-gritty details and helping them choose a tenant and reviewing documents and so on and so forth.
Yeah, which is key. I'm a landlord myself, and it's, even as a mortgage broker, it's a good time, right? But it doesn't not have its it's not 100% passive income.
It can't be passive income if you're in the state of New York. I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, I agree with you. Yeah. There are these peaks and valleys of, when you got to do a lot of work to it and when it doesn't need as much attention, but it's not truly passive.
No.
Unfortunately, but I still love Robert Kiyosaki. Still love him. Still love his books.
But it's a great concept for sure.
His
and you
books.
Definitely need to go through the process to be able to get to the next level. Yeah.
Yeah, just like brainwashing yourself in a good way with valuable information. So, Katia, even for me, when I first started in the business 13 years ago, I was very shy, right? I grew up being, I was the youngest in my whole family, not just like between my parents and my sister, but like all my cousins. I was always just very quiet, and I used audiobooks to essentially like brainwash myself into being more aggressive or less shy. I don't mean like a a hard salesman where I'm like pounding on the phone and being crazy, but it's a really valuable tool. Do you find like any of your agents do similar things? Like ways for them to like build themselves up, because like I said, the beginning is essentially the hardest.
It's a different world.
Yeah.
Period. Like when you're going into real estate, when you go into business, those are not taught in school. So you need to learn it. You need to become that business person. And in order for you to become that business person, it's important for you to have the education. So reading books, listening to audiobooks will build you up and give you access and make you invisible, pretty much.
Yeah, you can turn yourself into a machine. You can brainwash yourself into this animal. Okay, something I want to switch it up a little bit. Let's talk about the market itself, Katia. So where do you do the majority of your business?
Where or what do I do? Where?
Yeah.
I'm in East Flatbush. I'm in Brooklyn.
Yeah. So you would say like 95% is Brooklyn, or you venture out a little bit?
95% is in Brooklyn, but we are actually looking forward to expanding to the continent of Africa.
Really?
Yes. I was in West Africa in December, and there's a lot happening in West Africa, and people have demand for West Africa.
Good place to invest?
Great place to invest. And the time is now. Like it was yesterday,
right.
Literally. Yes. Senegal, Cabo Verde, those are the two places that I'm
very interested did you go?
About. I went to both Senegal and Cabo Verde.
How long did you go for?
For a week. Christmas break.
It's a minute. So were you there purely for business, or you did some fun too?
Well, when it comes to business, it's always business, but
right.
Then you also, at the end of the day, have a little bit of fun. Just a little bit.
Gotcha. Okay, so how is that going to work, right? Because are you going to like travel back and forth? Are you looking for investors from here? You're going to do trips over there? Like what's the plan?
So interesting. So I have people back in those two places that I was able to connect with. So we're looking forward to open it up to people here who want to invest in Africa and vice versa.
So it's going to be what? Like people, are you going to have projects there that you're going to be looking for investors to funnel in, or it's people looking for vacation homes? What's the
There's
target?
already a few projects that need to be sold.
Right.
So pretty much looking for the people from here who want to invest in those projects.
Yeah. And obviously if people live there, they can buy them.
And turn them into Airbnbs, because Airbnb is becoming very popular in West Africa.
I've seen that on Instagram, like a lot of African content for like vacations, particularly Airbnbs. Mm-hmm. I'm also seeing the opposite end of it for people looking to invest in like owning something and turning it into an Airbnb, and these what are called
rental arbitrage.
Yeah, I was going to say syndication, but yeah, exactly. Which I'm not totally against, though. Airbnb here it depends where. Like New York City, I don't think it's even allowed.
No, 30 days now. It's
crazy.
Not for
minimum 30 days.
Minimum 30 days. Yeah.
That's freaking nuts, and it's so silly.
Yeah.
But what can you do? So is that going to be in partnership with your new change coming up?
That will definitely be.
Can we hear about that from you directly? Or?
Yes,
okay.
indeed.
I wasn't sure if you wanted to put it on camera.
This is my 9th year as an independent broker, and we are moving over with Keller Williams. Nice. So it's not just going to be Best Realty Professionals, but it's going to be Best powered by Keller Williams. And Keller Williams is international. Right. So we'll be able to have access to expand and do a lot more work.
That sounds awesome. It sounds like a lot of money is going to be made, and a lot of people are going to make some quite intelligent investments.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And it's needed.
How do you go about educating people here on making those investments over there? Because even from my perspective, right, be like, how the heck do I make an investment in another country? Like, what are the tax implications? Do I have to pay tax there? I definitely have to pay tax here. Are there requirements when it comes to moving money around? How does like the financing work? I've got like all this in my head I'm trying to figure out. So like, how do you go about educating the potential investor on that?
Numbers.
Right.
Numbers don't lie. One of the focus that will be helping people retiring. So the retirees, instead of them retiring here, they'll be retiring in Africa. So automatically, it's an investment and the retirement home.
Gotcha. Okay, so you just paint the whole picture for them so they're good.
That's right.
I was in Africa recently myself.
Oh,
For the first time ever. It was in Morocco, so it's
you
like
were
right on the
Northern
border.
Africa.
Yeah,
It's still
but
Africa.
it's still Africa.
Yes. Where in
And
Morocco?
it was in Marrakesh.
You were in-
So
I
I was
haven't
looking at wedding venues with my fiance. So
Congrats.
the wedding, thank you. So now we're going back in September for the actual wedding. So back to
So
Africa
you're getting
again.
married in Marrakesh?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Nice.
she's,
Look at you.
Yeah,
You got
it's
sold.
awesome.
Nice.
It's beautiful. Her family is Moroccan initially, originally anyway, so it makes sense for her. And
Right.
honestly, like when I just went there, it's like the food's amazing, the people are so loving
Yeah.
and welcoming, and it's just it's an awesome place.
Yes,
I mean,
beautiful.
I had a great week there.
I haven't been to Marrakesh yet. I've been to Casablanca. So,
Casablanca is more modern.
right.
Right, it's more like a modern city. I was there for 6 hours, not long at all, because that's
Yeah,
where
the layover.
Yeah, no, the food caterer was there. So we
Oh.
drove from Marrakesh to the food caterer,
Okay.
and she literally just stuffed our face for 6 hours, and I was sweating
Oh my
at
gosh.
the table, and I didn't want to be rude and had to just keep eating. So it was a whole to-do.
Wow.
Okay, so we are at half an hour, and I'm getting hungry, and we have some food waiting for us. So, Katia, any final words? It doesn't have to be words of wisdom. It could be market predictions or a final message to the people of the world.
Awesome. So we do have our Lifefulness program. We're looking forward to helping people get become real estate agents as early as in high school. So we do understand that you do not have to wait till you're in your 40s. You do not have to wait till you're in your 50s to make your first real estate transaction. We want you to get started like yesterday. So reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to guide you through the process.
Before we end, can you expand on the program a little bit more?
Yes, the Lifefulness program is you're able to get your real estate license, you get the mentorship and the coaching. And once you get your license, we obviously place you to work with us in our office and guide you through the whole process of becoming a successful real estate agent.
That sounds like the full package,
It
honestly.
sure is, yes.
Yeah, because as I mentioned in the very beginning, people get into the business, they don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
They have an idea. I mean, look, if you're a go-getter, you got a sales background, and maybe you got a network, then you got a head start there. But most people don't have that, right? But they have the ability to grind, and they want to learn, and they want to grow. So it's kind of just a platform where they have everything that they need, and then it's on them to do the work. You can't make them
And that's
do
where
it.
you lose them.
Right.
But guiding them, having a coach, having a mentor will definitely help them to make it happen. And I can tell you, once they're seeing that they're able to conduct transactions, they'll stay in the game.
Agreed. Katia, thank you very much for coming on, sharing us your wisdom and well wishes. This is the Madison Podcast. We are out.
Thank
See you
you.
next time.